Hello everyone and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I wanted to make an updated video on all the Lightstones and artifact combinations that I use, and I wanted to talk about this in a way from both the beginner perspective and endgame. So I'll show you everything I use for both PvE, PvP, and life skills, and I'll also talk about some beginner options as well. So with that said, let's start off with the beginner options and stuff that if you're playing this for the first time, this is what you should use. Okay, so as we all know, getting the artifacts is probably the hardest part of the thing. And if you're a new player, you should probably get the XP versus the mastery first, because you want to get your life skill levels up to, you know, like guru or whatever, and then you switch over to mastery. That's what I think. And then entry level artifacts for everything is probably just going to be the XP. So there's a lot of options. There's no real right or wrong answer. It's more just like, what is affordable at your current budget? Where are you in the game? And so, yeah, we have a lot of things to talk about. When I first started, let's say you're doing gathering, right? And you don't know what to do. You just want to get to guru for whatever reason. When in doubt, just put XP along with more XP, right? So like anything, I assume all of these are fairly cheap. And even on console, we looked at it the other day, and a lot of stuff was sold out. So I wanted to give alternatives because not everyone can get all the straight crystals or whatever. So beginner level, just get XP, stack it on top of more XP, and you're good. Then you move into mastery and all that stuff later on. Okay, so with that said, let's talk about the stuff that I use, and then we'll talk about some beginner and alternative options. So, PvE. If you are trying to grind out, this is the best, setup to all-out attack. However, I do think this one is, one, it's very expensive because it requires 2 strikes. And also, if you don't have a lot of gear, this is one of those things where you are basically trading off a little bit of evasion and damage reduction for more damage. So it's one of those don't get hit things, or you have to have a little bit of gear. So, when people talk about like the 401 bracket of DP, that's because that is, important to have when you're trading off other stuff. So obviously more is better, but we'll talk about other stuff and alternatives as well. All right, so for anyone over the AP cap of monster spots, how do you know this? This is actually something they added recently in one of the patches. You could filter by total stats, so you see your total AP and DP. This includes all your buffs as well, and I'm not really buffed right now, this is all I have. But if I was more buffed, number is bigger. And so how do you filter it? You click this button right here. I don't think console has it yet, but either way, when it shows your gear score, this is just that one, total stats, extra AP, and then to species, so whatever you want to. So that's really nice to have. Is actually one of the nicer quality of life things they added. And how do you find that? With whatever grind spot you're at. Let's take Alchemy, for example. See this button right here? You basically do the same thing. So you can see the total stats and, all this stuff. So yeah, that's always good to know, right? All right, now that we know that, let's talk about some other stuff. Okay, so if your stats are higher than, the grind spot you're at, you do species damage simply because any additional AP doesn't really translate 1-to-1 past the cap. So you want to do species, which goes over that number, if that makes sense. So there's really 2 different ones that are important for PvE. You get comma damage and demi-humans. Those are the 2 most popular species type that you'll be grinding most likely. And so this is what you use: 3 Fallens and Iridescence. So before I do that, yesterday I did a video talking about console prices and PC on the central market. And I talked about one thing that I think is really important, especially for you console players. Iridescent Lightstones. These are 700 mil on console. These are about 2 billion on PC. Why? Because these are used in basically every endgame thing. So if you don't have them, you might want to buy them now because they're actually important for endgame and it is worth your investment. So with that said, Comma damage is basically plus 30, 5 for each Lightstone, and then 15 for the effect. So depending on where you grind, demi-human or, you know, Comma Sylvian type enemies, plus 30. So if you're over the cap, you want to use that one. And they both use iridescence. The difference is the type of Lightstone you use. All right, so this is my DR one that I really just go full tanky. You trade off a lot of damage, but I actually noticed that even on a Dark Knight, which is considered one of the squishiest classes in the game, when you start using like defensive stuff, you actually survive a little bit more. It's actually really nice. So all the real tanky classes are probably using that. So this one's still a work in progress. I'm trying to get my second Decia's artifact, and you know, here's the progress. Let me show you. Grinding for Decia's fragments is got to be one of the worst things I've ever done. And so, yeah. Anyway, there's that. Soon TM. Either way, the point of this one, very cheap crystals. They're all iron wall, and it's basically plus 30 damage reduction on top of more DR. So basically, you're tanky. That's about it. You trade off damage, and that's about it. Let me see. Let's just go down the list. Fishing. I have two different combinations. We talked about this in another video. So fishing. This one is the one you use when you don't have like the pay-to-win fishing rod, which I think most people have one because they gave one away for, I believe, seasonal rewards or getting like a certain level. And this is both on PC and console. So if you have a pay-to-win rod, you don't need this one. But when that runs out, this is a very good set. So what we have here is the Patience and Iridescence. Patience is the 5 bill crystal. It's worth investing into. Iridescent is 2 bill, at least here on PC. And the Lungs and Bite crystal, very cheap. You can afford those. So let me just show you. So Lungs, and then the Bite, min price. This is the expensive one. So the reason why you're using it is because auto fishing time, if you just like leave your game on overnight, it's just overall you fish more, and then by like average RNG, yep, the more you fish, the more rare fish you get. Yeah, so on my actual fishing character, this is what I use. I have a different combo. I have 1 fortune, 1 feather, and these 2. So is there a way to show you this setup without swapping? Let me just swap and I'll show you. But either way, if you have the pay-to-win fishing rod, that is the one I'm currently wearing on my fisher is the one you wear. But if you don't and you're using the Balanos rod and you just want auto fishing time reduction, that is also good. So really just depends. We talked about that in the fishing video. I'll leave that in the description so you guys can watch it and I talk about it in more detail. But the artifact combo is this one. The reason why we have this one is for gear durability reduction, and you know how we have the pay-to-win fishing rod, which is probably this one, or the Grandpa Kron's rod. Basically, if you're paying real money for it, you want to be able to use it as long as possible. And we talk about gear durability reduction, which affects the fishing rod, so you get to, you know, use it longer. It makes more sense, right? So, yeah, I have a more in-depth fishing video. I'll leave it in the description if you care, but this is what I use. So Fortune and Feather are probably going to be the expensive ones. The other ones are less relevant. So there's that. All right, so I guess while we're on this character, let me just continue going over all of these. I should probably show you my life skilling levels too, just to show you that I actually use them. Gathering. We have Yawning Hedgehog. I personally believe this is the best one you can get. It is kind of expensive, not gonna lie. I think all these crystals are, you know, Forest is not too bad, but it's still expensive. And Fortune, I know on console this one is max price, or at least more expensive than it should be. And then of course Light, like you see a pattern, use Iridescence for a lot of them. But I gather a lot, and the reason why you want this one is gathering item drop rate. That's extremely important. The XP, mastery, and energy recovery is nice as well, but the most important thing you want is gathering item drop rate. Otherwise, if you're a beginner and you're just trying to boost your levels, just get stack XP and you'll be fine. Next one I have is cooking, and I do Imperial delivery as well, so basically mastery is the most important thing for me. And I can get 1 second cooking, you know, just why? Because I have like the clothes and then the ladle and all that stuff, and just buff yourself. You should be able to get 1 second without any problem, so just mastery stacking is the way to go. And if you're trying to get Guru cooking just to do Imperial delivery every day, just once again stack XP. But this one, these crystals, they're kind of expensive to invest in, but if it puts you up into a new bracket, it's definitely worth the investment. So it's like 3 billion to set up, and then cooking mastery artifacts. So basically plus 45, so in theory it should put you up into a new bracket, and that's more silver. Next we have Alchemy. We use something a little bit different because Alchemy is not, well, it's not that hard to get 1 second cooking time or alchemy time, but either way, what you want is more mastery XP, and that's what I have, so this is what I use. The feathers, not too expensive. Iridescent, once again, is crazy, but everything else, this setup is not too bad. If you're higher up on the list and you have everything you want, you can do 1 second, and you could just do mastery, same as this one as well. But for the most part, I think leveling up alchemy is harder than cooking, obviously, because we have mass cooking, but we don't have mass alchemy. And so if you're just trying to push levels, I do believe the XP is actually very nice here. Processing, if you AFK process at all, processing success rate is probably the most important thing. Allows you to just process more. So what we have here is two, let's see, yeah, these aren't too bad. Iridescent and feather is the one you want, but more weight limit, more processing success rate, the important stuff. All right, so next we have human accuracy. This is my PvP setup. You want full human damage, you do this one. Light crystals are cheap nowadays compared to when I bought them. They were like closer to $1 billion or $2 billion each, and then the iridescent. So you see a pattern, like all these setups that I use basically have iridescents in them. That's why they're important. And there are a few more things I want to show you before we wrap up this video. This one is for hunting. Now, I don't really hunt a lot, but when I was into it a while ago, this is what I used. But I think this one is also something that if you really like hunting, you should do it. If you don't, just put XP because it's probably good enough. Okay, so hunting setup. This is what I use. Once again, another iridescent. So matchlock reload speed, very important. You should, if you're doing any sniper hunting or normal hunting, to be honest. So whether you have a Marnie rifle or the regular matchlock, reload speed is important. Mastery, hunting XP, and crit is always important, but you just want reload. So let's see, the important ones that are probably going to be expensive is, I believe it is track. Let me see. Let me look that one up. It's not that bad nowadays, but once again, this is probably just an iridescent expense, and then everything else basically free. So that's about it. When I did hunting, by the way, if you want to do any sniper hunting in the future, this is where it's at, next to the Sangoon and Imugi. Sniper hunting region is down here in Morning Light. So with that said, those are all the stuff that I use, but we're not done. We have a few more things I want to talk about. So for all of you beginners and people who aren't at the end game, who can't get like complete full strike crystals and everything, I have a few more things to talk about. Okay, so this is what I used when I first started. When I was like on a budget, I had no idea what to use. I used Flying Kick. The one thing you could change instead of the aerial crystal is you could do like down attack or like a back attack or anything else. Basically, this is a very cheap setup. Everything is, you know, affordable and probably minimum price except for the aerial, which is like 50 mil. So very entry level, basically what you're wanting is AP. Accuracy is a little bit less important nowadays, but you know, you just want more AP and everything. So other options that I used are, I have a screenshot, these two. So one is Vicious Shadows and the other is Death Blow. On the screen you can see that one of them has a strike, which if you only have one instead of two, this is a very good option. Back attacks are very important, as well as monster AP and crit damage. You know, all of them are good stats. So 3 of those crystals are, you know, affordable and you can get them. The strike one being the hardest one. And so the next one we have is Death Blow. So 2 gradations, 2 blades. This is a very cheap and entry level one. So let me show you, at least here on NA, if you look up blade, or actually, yeah, these blade crystals, pretty cheap. They do crit rate, so when in doubt, more crit is always good. And so everyone else who is leveling up and just doing easy stuff, here's what I'd recommend. I'm pretty sure I have another character that has all this as well. Where is, do I have it? Let me, hold on, I probably have it. I wish they would give you more than 10 presets, I'm not gonna lie, because Lifeskillers, you're using like 9 of those, or like at least a lot more if you have other stuff. Alright, so for all of you who are just leveling, seasonal characters, AFK training dummy, what you do is 4 combat XP crystals. It gives you 100% from the crystals, and then another, or Lightstones, and then another 300 from the set effect. So basically, if you're just trying to power level yourself, extra AP against monsters, always nice to have, or it really doesn't matter if you're on a dummy. And then 4 combat crystals, and then that's it. If you are like mid-tier PvP and you need accuracy, you could use accuracy crystals instead of Kabuas. Kabuas are realistically PvE ones, so if you need more accuracy, you use that one. And then when you transition into XP to mastery is when you think you would make a lot more money with it, but, or like, let's say you hit Guru, that's when you could start moving over. But aside from that, a lot of these things are kind of outdated, irrelevant. Like, you know, these AP crystals, they're not bad, it's just Kabuas are more important. And then these are realistically more for PvP, because magic AP, it only gives you +4, whereas if you're doing like, you know, PvE grinding, extra AP against monsters, +6 is, you know, literally +2. All evasion, all damage reductions are good, but once again, once you get to the point where you're at endgame and you can get these 2, these literally are just straight up better in every way possible. So once again, these are endgame, most people won't have them, but if you do, good for you. So that's all the crystals that I wanted to talk about. We talked about some beginner options, budget options, and everything that I used. So once again, this is all of it. Pearl Abyss, if you're watching this, literally just add more. You can even add it into the Pearl shop. People will buy it, I guarantee you. Preferably, if you could, you know, not real money, but more than 10 presets would be a lot nicer. So anyway, that's everything. I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you guys come back, and see you tomorrow. Peace.